I will tell you one of the top storylines coming up over the next 10 to 14 days, and get ready for it. I'm sure it's even starting right now in some other places. Get ready for it. Purdy's game-managing, game-changing matchup with him versus Mahomes and how he's going to do against Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs defense, and there's enough time for all that stuff. And how shaky he looked against the Green Bay Packers. And then in this game against the Detroit Lions, who needed only about 90 seconds of game time to take their first ever lead in the history of the NFC Championship game for them. And Brock Purdy throwing a couple at the Green Bay Packers secondary, and they dropped the ball. And this time around, the Lions didn't, and took that turnover and turned it into points to take a 17-point lead on the 49ers in this game. He couldn't blame the rain. It's a nice night, nice afternoon, nice night. Couldn't blame Deebo Samuel's shoulder. He was playing. Mm-hmm. He looked as spry as 19 could ever look as spry. Can't blame it on anything else. Couldn't blame it on, how about this? The rust. Remember that? They didn't play their starters in week 18 and then had a week off. Couldn't blame the rust. You played last week. And then the second half hit. And I understand Dan Campbell made decisions that kind of let the 49ers off the hook because of the way they made the opportunities hit. You can't have the door opened for you by your opponent coach's decision-making without walking through it and blowing it open. And Brock Purdy got lucky to start when, after Dan Campbell decided not to go for a 3-point lead again, just try to press the pedal to the metal and tried to keep the ball and maybe take a 3-touchdown lead, not a 3-score lead. When he decided to just leave the door open for the Niners, and Purdy goes up top, and a ball hits the defender's hands and winds up in his receiver's hands, everybody's going to hang their hat on. He was lucky. Sometimes you need that instead of being good, because a couple snaps later, Purdy was good. He found Ayuk in the end zone. That was a dart. That was a dart. And then the comeback was on. The defense comes up with a takeaway of Jahmyr Gibbs, the brilliant rookie who helped get that 17-point lead. Took the ball away. Purdy comes back. Touchdown. And the thing that I was really impressed with for Brock Purdy was when the game was on the line, he used his legs also, showing you he's got not just neck up, and sometimes he's got to set those feet and make the throws, but when push comes to shove, he can run the football too. This is something the Chiefs better watch out for. They thought maybe they were done with running quarterbacks after they kept Lamar in the pocket in the AFC Championship game so expertly. Well, guess what? Brock Purdy had 3 scrambles in this game, all of them for first downs, all of them. 2nd and 11 from the Detroit 25, down 24-17 after that drive that the Brandon Ayuk tip ball winds up in his hands. And after they made it 24-17, and after they got the turnover, and it's 2nd and 11 from the Detroit 25, just on the outside of the red zone, he scrambles for 21 yards down to the 4-yard line. Guess what happens? Touchdown. Tie game. Later on, from the Detroit 23-yard line, on another drive, later on in the 4th quarter, 2nd and 6. What does he do? Of a tie game, a 24-all, 10-yard scramble inside the red zone. 2 sacks, though. What does he do after that? A 7-yard pass to Deebo to keep things on the up and up for Jake Moody, who, bless him, split these uprights to give the Niners a lead. And then later on, after Dan Campbell makes one more head-scratching decision to not go for a game-tying field goal, to go ahead and go for it on 4th down and give the ball back to the 49ers, what does he do? On 3rd and 4 from midfield, the Detroit 49. He scrambles it for 21 yards to the Detroit 28. What happens later on? Touchdown. And those are the points that the Niners needed to stave off the Lions. Brock Purdy getting it done with his legs. As a matter of fact, if he didn't have to take that 3-yard loss at the end of the game because they needed him to just dance around for a bit to get rid of the clock and win the game, he would have had one fewer rushing yard on Championship Sunday than Lamar Jackson. And he overcame an interception. And he loves to play football. You could see it. And his team loves him. Mike, Kyle Shanahan had this to say after the game about Purdy.
I thought it was the difference between winning and losing. He made some big plays with his legs, getting out of the pocket, moving the chains in some first downs, getting some explosives. He competed his ass off today, and it wasn't easy for any of us, but he kept grinding and was unbelievable there in the second half.
Yeah, difference between winning and losing. Christian McCaffrey, who did his thing.
MVP.
It's tough to argue, isn't it? 20 carries, 90 yards, 4 catches, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground for McCaffrey. My goodness. My goodness gracious. And at one point, he would have had a third. Elijah Mitchell came in and scored that last touchdown to put him up by 10 because he landed on his head. He had to come out for a snap. This is what McCaffrey had to say about Purdy after the game.
Man, I don't have enough good things to say about Brock. All he's done since he's been here is play at an elite level, and everything starts with him. And I'm just we're lucky he's our quarterback. He takes a lot of heat for absolutely no reason. All he's done is been a great leader, been a great player, and I'm so proud of him and pumped up that I get another one with him this year.
He sure does. It's called the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's hear from the man himself. I hope he's ready for what's coming over the next 13 days because the other guy is the greatest under 30 quarterback in the history of the NFL in terms of all the metrics, and we'll show you later about that. Because as you know, Tom had a pretty great career from 30 on. That Mahomes is going to have a tough time matching that. But right now he's ahead of pace. But again, that's later on. So Purdy is going to have to get ready for the comparisons because it's going to be difficult for him, although he does have the nice soft landing of being a Super Bowl quarterback in just year 2, despite being the last pick in a draft 2 seasons ago. Here's Purdy.
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, just the feeling of redemption, coming back. It's huge, man. And for all of us to what we went through, I guess last year, this whole year has been crazy. You go through highs, you go through lows, and even in this game, the season's on the line, you're down 17. And then to see the clock hit 0 and you're up is special to all of us. And so, obviously, we have one more. Job's not finished, but I can't tell you guys how proud I am of the team to fight.
Now, of course, Brady's name is going to get thrown about because of Mahomes is chasing Brady, and Brady's childhood team is the 49ers, and Brady's going to loom over these entire proceedings over the next 2 weeks just because he's Tom Brady. Also, I assume he'll be in Vegas. He might be knocking on the door of ownership there and whatever. The reason why I bring him up is, again, I just remember when Tom was fresh-faced. Everybody's wondering, he can't do it. Because Brady was still learning. He was learning on the job. And you know what? I think that's what Brock Purdy's doing. I think Brock Purdy is still learning on the job. And it's going to be a tough comparison because the other guy, he's not learning anything. He's the one schooling. He's schooling everybody in Mahomes. And Purdy is learning on the job, as one would think the last pick in last year's draft, not this year's draft, last year's draft, would be doing. And the kicker's learning on the job, too, by the way, my guy from Michigan.
Yeah, he's a rookie. Yeah.
And so he missed another kick, and the Niners just keep on plugging along. They're back in the Super Bowl, and they love Brock Purdy, who, again, A lot of people are waiting for him to fall on his face for whatever reason. And twice he's fallen down, and he did get up against the Packers last drive, against the Lions second half. Arms and legs and heart. And I think Niners fans, that's why they, as I said on game day morning yesterday in talking about Brock Purdy's struggles, Chris Berman famously says the Buffalo Bills, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. But I said, with all due respect, Boomer doesn't have a Twitter account. Because if anybody twitches in the direction of being critical of Purdy not being the guy, Niners fans turn your mentions into a total dumpster fire right on the spot.
Factual.
So, but I'm giving him his flowers right now, because what will be lost today and perhaps tomorrow, and then the media will then turn the page to the two teams that are still playing, and of course playing against each other in the biggest game there is that America can stage and export, that it's going to be all about Dan Campbell's decisions. But those decisions don't mean anything if they don't take advantage of it. And the guy who was the one who took advantage of it the most is Brock Purdy. And everyone will be focused on the lucky bounce. But there were the scrambles, there were the dime throws he made earlier in the game. He took one directly in the chops and threw one to Deebo Samuel for a first down. There was one where he looked dead to rights in the pocket, scrambled to his left, and found Kyle Juszczyk on the sideline. He made some great throws and was taking it in the chest, and at one point in the mouth. And where he was down on the ground, and it looked like he got roughed, and he's bleeding from his lip. So, well done, man. Brock Purdy is a Super Bowl quarterback. Now all he's got to do is just hit the wide open receiver over the top in the last couple minutes if they need that throw. Because that's something Garoppolo couldn't do, as we all know, the last time these two teams faced in the Super Bowl. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.